that confused, because a lot of this guy was constantly embarrassing Cardi B. What is up, guys? Welcome back. This is All Into the Spectrum, the podcast. I'm your host, 3 a.m. Alexander, and this is episode 12. A lot to get into. First, we are going to start off with recognizing Nat is actually not here for the second podcast in a row. Cut her some slack. She is really important to the brand, as I stated in the previous one. We know that she needs to handle some things in her personal life, so I want to let her do that. We hang out all the time. We are literally together very often. But for some reason, we just don't lock in on the podcast as much as we would like to. Conflicting of our schedules, etc. We're both extremely busy adults, and we don't live together. I think you guys have that confused, because a lot of the vlogs may appear in the condo or may appear in the blue house. Those are two different locations, and we see each other fairly often. It's just an inconvenient to lock in the studio. But I'm here nonetheless to deliver this fire episode for Spectrum Gang, you guys. And I want to announce that we unofficially have merch brought to you by Teesprings. And they have sponsored us and our podcast with being able to provide us merchandise, whether it be tote bags, phone accessories, sweatshirts, crew necks, hoodies, t-shirts, shorts, pillows, towels. Buy our merch. It's going to be in the description below if you're listening on YouTube, and if you are listening on Spotify, you can head over to our Instagram at All Into the Spectrum Podcast. Tap the link in bio. It would lead you directly to our store. So I want to dive right into one of my sleepers for this week. My first sleeper is going to be a recently released, aka Baby Keem, Los Angeles native, and he is Kendrick Lamar's younger cousin. So there's a lot of controversy about Baby Keem, whether or not he's an industry plant. Is Kendrick Lamar writing his songs or giving him his throwaways? First found out about Baby Keem for his obviously highly anticipated album, his first album. I really, really enjoy his music. He's got such a nice Compton, LA sound. So we're going to dive into his new release. This is called Hooligan, and this is by Baby Keem.
I get the top while I skeet up, swerving through lanes, I am limitless. For the ones down, I said free up. I start to question what freedom is. My aunt put the Chevy on foes. I drippin' all black like an emo bitch. But these are not regular clothes. These are the outfits I make a movie in. Baby Keem counting through Frito-Lay. I get the call and I go. Shawty go fuck on my goons. Stop it, I am above the buffoons. Stop it, I am above all the rules. Look at my wrist and say freeze, freeze. I need to buy a new neck. I start wearing VVs. Please get the fuck out the pic. He got the fuck and he got the fuck. So what is the use of my dick? She wanna put on a jewelry and play with it like she's entitled to it. I ain't done. Bitch, go to your room. I cannot fuck with no corny bitch. I give him 10 and be done with it. I learned that shit from the gunners. Mask on, they don't know who it is. Eat the pussy so good, I give her butterflies all in the stomach shit. I'm the youngest nigga running it. 555, 555. Hooligans, they on the way. 555, 555. Had to influence the wave. 555, 555. Hop in the ship, go to space. 555, 555. Drive to the crib on the lakes. I need another exit at the show, cause niggas be lurking when I hit the road. Stupid, y'all gotta deal with the boss. Y'all gotta talk to the ones in control. Stupid, even if I take a loss, I stand on the money so tall I see growth. Stupid, turn all you niggas to gold. Stupid, take a credit, now you're told. Stupid, I cannot fuck with no corny bitch. I give him 10 and be done with it. I learned that shit from the gunners. Mask on, they don't know who it is. Eat the pussy so good, I give her butterflies all in her stomach shit. I'm the youngest nigga running it. 555, 555. Hooligans, they on the way. 555, 555. Had to influence the wave. 555, 555. Hop in the ship, go to space. 555, 555. Drive to the crib on the lakes.
So, Baby Keem-Hooligan, yikes. That was pure heat. So I got a few things I want to get into. We're definitely going to do the Q&A because I've posted this week on Instagram and Twitter twice. Hints, twice, plurals. I was just curious, what are you guys interested in knowing about me, my come up, my grind, the podcast, just any random question? And we've got a really, really large amount of feedback, so I want to dive into that a little bit later. First, let's go into my bingeable for this week. My bingeable for this week is a Hulu television comedy on its first season, 2020 presented. It's called Woke. It is a very interesting comedy. So Lamore Morris, an actor that's like been in a lot of movies actually 2020, even with quarantining happening. I've been seeing him on a lot of stuff, so it's exciting. He's a African American, obviously, cartoonist on the verge of mainstream success when unexpected things start to happen in his life and he starts to act out. His cartoons begin to come to life, more like in a stop motion animated kind of effect. Like they're using stop motion and digital EFX to create faces on beer bottles or a pencil or a pen. It's like so creative, and he's just dealing with a lot throughout it, and I can relate to this show, so I'm really fond of it. I think the ratings on them are invalid, and they should be a little bit higher, but it's its first season. There's 8 episodes. Just started at the beginning of this month, September, and it's pretty fire, so I would suggest you guys checking out Woke on Hulu whenever you get a chance. That's my first bingeable for this day. And now I want to dive into a little bit of drama. Let's talk about Cardi B and Offset. So, allegedly, Cardi B has officially filed for divorce against Offset this past weekend. And I just have a few comments on the entire situation with Offset and Cardi B. My thoughts on how their relationship conspired and became what it is. So obviously you guys know that Cardi B has been on the hip hop scene for well over 10 years. She started out as a dancer, someone inside of nightclubs around the lifestyle, and she just woke up one day and started making very interesting videos. I wasn't privy to her early videos. I would say it was even like vines, like funny, like her being herself, like, you know, whether it be like acting out, saying some, you know, characteristic things. Like she puts on a character because that was who is Cardi B. She's two different people. She's not going to be acting like that, raising her kid, talking to the kid in that same voice. But a podcast that I listened to, I want to talk about them later, Horrible Decisions. These two girls are so on point with the character that they bring to the podcast. They're so animated. They're so vibrant. Like the way that they speak is how Cardi B acts on camera. Literally. And as for Offset, he was, you know, the Migos and like their whole group. They had a really good run. So there's this conspiracy that is out there that labels convince artists to intertwine and to start a relationship to now increase their popularity amongst their listeners because they're a duo. I truly believe that this started out as literally just that. Cardi B is signed to Atlantic. Offset is signed to QC, joint venture with Atlantic. It makes sense that these two connect the dots as rising stars to have more influence on the demographic of people. And she's already she's interested in hype guys, fashion, etc. And at the time, it was literally in Offset's favor because of what the Migos were doing to the rap game. They were, Culture was out, Culture 2 came, like they were on fire, like they had such a run, and it was only right that these two collaborate to increase their popularity. Think about what's happening with Quavo and Sweetie. The exact same thing. It's just they're a little bit more on the same page, if you will. Like, it seems like Quavo isn't so out there in the media as Offset is. Because Offset was, like, doing these videos and treating Cardi not so well. Like, there was this Vine that I saw on Twitter, and she had stacks of money in her hand and like interesting glasses, and like Offset was just like dancing around behind her and like literally treating her like trash. Like, it was crazy. So from the moment I saw that video, I was like, this guy doesn't even appreciate like the woman he's with. But I could be wrong. That could have just been for the camera. But either way, you don't put that out. You don't push her out of the way and grab her by the hair and like, oh, it's like, it wasn't really gentlemanlike. And yeah, you guys are married 3 years, kid together. It's a big deal. So I would put more respect on my girl's name, especially after we have took it to that level. And number one, she's popular. I don't want to embarrass her. This guy was constantly embarrassing Cardi B. Like, I personally just think that his mannerisms and the way that he deals with women, he wasn't educated, or he doesn't understand how to handle women with care. Because every time he's in the media, it's never like positive. So him coming out and apologizing to Cardi was sincere, I felt, but he like slandered her with calling her like a nickname like bruh or bro or something like that. I'm not too sure, but it was on Rolling Loud. He came out, tons of roses. She had just performed, and he tried to like surprise her. And funny enough, I was actually there for that bender. It was a 3-day festival, and he came out on a Saturday. I was there Saturday and Sunday, and he did that. It's crazy, but Cardi B really was along with it for the popularity, and Offset just seems like he's immature, and he doesn't know how to handle his success and his popularity. That's personally what I think. So, and from what he's done out there in the media, all the things that come up about him, it proves that he's just not very in touch with himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's going along with the hype. He believes the hype. But with that note, I don't want to go too crazy on this particular topic. But I will say that I felt that their relationship was put together. Like I said earlier, it wasn't something that they equally wanted to do. The label put them together. It was an idea, and it became something bigger after. I wouldn't be surprised if Cardi B is right back out on the market, dating someone like Meek Mill or fucking NBA Youngboy. You know what I mean? It seems like that's her vibe. So let's talk about Joe Budden. Joe Budden is officially off of Spotify. I cannot believe they are playing these games out here, man. Joe Budden is off of Spotify as of Saturday. Now, I want to see next Wednesday when he drops, which I am fucking ready for. Where are you going to show up? If it's going to be the immediate YouTube, damn YouTube, man. I'm trying to like accomplish this goal of getting 4,000 watch hours, and that is so much watch hours. Like, people have to literally be streaming every video around the clock. because there's only 24 hours in a day. It's crazy. Joe Budden officially relieved of his contract with Spotify as of September 23rd. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. So there are a lot of options right now for Joe Budden. I do want to point them out. You know, you have Maul, which is Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z, which is Tidal. You have Rory, which is in connection to Revolt, which is in connection to your own. Definitely saw you in the headlines a ton this past 2 weeks leading up to the departure with Spotify. The incident with Tahiri, crazy allegations. This guy Jason Lee just slandering you. Charlemagne, also Andrew Schultz. It really seems like a lot of people were just coming after you these past 2 weeks, man. And you're so strong, bro. You stood up to everyone and you did not back down. Each episode you name dropped, you mentioned, you gave these people the time. And you dropped your knowledge, bro. Everyone let you get your shit. It was a complete isolation. You're in the paint. One-on-one with Schultz. One-on-one with Charlemagne. One-on-one with the few people at Loudspeaker Network. Crazy. I see what time it is, man. I'm really looking forward to where you guys go next, whether it be Tidal, whether it be... Honestly, look into fucking Anchor, man. I'm sure you guys know about that already. Monetize your shit. Get your ads. Take advantage of what you're doing, big dog. This is what it's about to be right now. The streaming age is about to be insane. It's in your best look to just take advantage of everything. Start a merch. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are... I know it's, like, crazy. Because they'll say that they don't do it for the money. They'll say that they're not doing this for the money. They just love hanging out and, you know, having a conversation with their friends. But, guys, everything happens for the money. Regardless. It's a business now. The JBP is IP. It's its own IP. You own that IP. This was your whole fight with Spotify. So it's like, was the issue with Complex similar? Yes, I would say that. He had a similar fight, wanting to own a piece of the IP at Complex for Everyday Struggle, which was a show he did with DJ Academics and Nadeska. I think the best option for you, Joe, is to get smart and take advantage of your listeners that are into the tech. Team up with some people, create a fucking network streaming platform where you can literally come and get all these episodes. You guys have over 300 episodes. It is next level. There's no reason that all of this should be sitting on YouTube, monetizing, obviously, but still not getting every bit of what you deserve. With that being said, let's move on to my second sleeper for this week. This is actually a new artist that I am just now coming across. He's hitting the airwaves pretty hard. His name is YNG Martyr, and this is called Ease Off. I heard this song on TikTok, believe it or not. Like, you know, sometimes you'll be on, like, IG and, like, the Explorer page will pop up and, like, it's some fucking idiot dancing in a video to a TikTok. Yeah. Thank God Donald Trump banned that shit. I'm not going to see any more of those. But this song was a song that I seen some kid dancing to. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This song's fire. Shazam. Bam.
Whoa. Fucking model hoes, wearing $1,000 clothes. Sleeping in my bed with bitches that I barely know. I got these problems on my own. Habits set in stone. Said I'll see you in the morning. And she wake up and I'm gone. And I'm just east side, pushing a whip fast and feeling it. She called, tell me these love songs a remedy. Ease off, baby, just ease off. You're killing me. Ease off, baby, just ease off. You're killing me. Girl, you're killing me. Girl, you're really killing me. I've been here for 7 days and I said that shit get to me. This ain't how it meant to be. Girl, you drain my energy. Stumbling around set in stone. Said I'll see you in the morning. Then she wake up and I'm gone. And I'm just east side pushing a whip fast and feeling it. She called and tell me these love songs a remedy. Ease off, baby, just ease off. You're killing me. Ease off, baby, just ease off. You're killing me.
I just really wish you could understand how this makes me feel. Ever since you've lived, you've become a completely different person, and I hate it. I don't get you. Are you even listening to me?
Yeah, fucking model hoes, wearing $1,000 clothes, sleeping in my bed with bitches that I barely know. I got these problems on my own, habits set in stone. Said I'll see you in the morning, then she wake up and I'm gone. And I'm just east side pushing a whip fast and feeling it. She called and tell me these love songs a remedy. Ease off, baby, just ease off. You're killing me. Ease off, baby, just ease off. You're killing me.
Oh yeah, that was my second sleeper for this week. That is Ease Off by YNG Martyr. It's a very dope song. So now I want to dive into the Q&A. We've got a lot of questions here. I'm going to be quite honest. I do not think I am going to finish all of these, but let's start off with some of the IG responses. I'm not going to read out any usernames because I don't really think these people want to be named, because some of these questions are pretty interesting. Okay, let's start out with this first one. It says, in relation to music, how do you find inspiration and new ideas for new music? Wow. Well, thank you, my listener. I want to say the main way that I find inspiration for new music is listening to instrumentals. Like, I love to listen to what's currently trending, especially like Hot 100, Top 50, Top 40. I love listening to a lot of what's actually out there to know what people are picking up quickly, whether it be BPMs on a beat pattern or a certain auto tune scale. Like, I listen because, not to say that a lot of the listeners and supporters are out there are all following similar trends, but people like what other people like. So if a song is actually popular, it's because a lot of people have voted for that song to be deemed that it's popular. So why not use small pieces of what other people are interested in and incorporate that in your own work? So the way that I find my inspiration is I listen to things that are out there. I definitely nitpick, like, when it comes to this strategy. Like, a songwriter taught me this when I was actually visiting an academy in the city. His name is Sean Garrett. He's very famous, wrote for Chris Brown, Trey Songz, literally everybody. He's a very popular songwriter and producer. And he gave me this suggestion on when it comes to writing songs. Stick to a 50-word minimum. Like, a creative song and a dope song, which will now pull in listeners, should be as minimal as possible. It should be as simple as possible. And his direction and his advice is to keep it in a 50-word minimum. And that is so insane. I never thought about it that way when I listened to a lot of music. Think about the structure of a song, and it either starts out in a pre-intro or a build-up of the chorus. It's usually, sometimes you'll see this actually. You'll see a hook first, then a verse, then the hook again, and then another verse. Or sometimes you'll get the verse first, then hook, then verse again. Or in some cases, which now the listener like attention span is really short. So you can literally get an intro in 20 seconds, a verse for another 20 seconds, which is like 14 bars, get a hook immediately following up that verse, and right back to an outro. And you can get that all in 1 minute and 50 seconds. So there are so many artists out there that capitalize on doing an album. Let's put this in perspective. I just put out Quarantine 13 track album September 11th. Doing very well, by the way. Let me plug that in. Go check out Quarantine, my album featuring my brother. It's a collaboration album. MAR is his artist name, and 3AM Alexander is I. It's called Quarantine, 13 tracks. All of our songs on this album are under 3 minutes. Do you understand that? Are under 3 minutes and are very short, catchy, and straight to the point. So I took a little bit of what I learned from Sean Garrett and other people because I've been in sessions, a ton of sessions, and I love that everyone works differently and everyone has their own strategic strategy how they're going to do what they want to do, whether it be engineering someone's vocals or it be being the vocalist in this case, because that's what you're asking. How do I find this inspiration? So let's go to the second question. This is about the podcast. Second question is, how is it like to know you have international listeners too? I'm highly appreciative of international listeners for the podcast, number one. And I think that is amazing. I really love it. And I know me and Nat both watch the analytics often and check to see, like, where's all of our attention coming from? Where's our traffic? And it's awesome. I love the fact that people from Europe, London, United Kingdom, Singapore, India, all over, people are really listening to our pod. And I think it's great. I love international listeners because that's where some of that support needs to come from. I want to be able to travel and see parts of the world that I'm not able to see right now. Obviously, living here in the States, having international listeners is awesome. I love that. Next question is music related. What's your favorite band growing up? Okay. My favorite band growing up as a young kid, that actually I wasn't even listening to music at a young age. My mom was listening to music like Sade, Lauryn Hill, the Fugees, and like really creative music. But for me, when I got around to music would probably be when I started playing video games and I started playing like Tony Hawk, I think it was. I was on the Tony Hawk, and some of the music that they had on there was really awesome. So I didn't really even look into any of those artists at the time because I didn't understand it. But when you get older, you go back and you're like, oh, this is Dead Mouse. Oh, this is Blink 182. Oh, these are the Freedom Fighters. And I didn't really know any bands growing up that much, but I will say, like, I love your everyday favorites, the Backstreet Boys, B2K, you know, um I would say those are boy bands, but like a band, I couldn't really say if I loved like a real band. I'm not really into that style of music that much, but nowadays I do listen to that indie pop alternative. I'll say I like Jaws a lot, Jaws, and they spell that in three spurts, like Jaws. That's one of my favorite bands right now. They have some of the music that I get inspired by when I listen to often. Again, they're called Jaws. I'll definitely probably do a sleeper from them next week, or maybe even this week, just because this was a random question. I might actually consider to throw that in there. Let's move on to the next question. Next question is going to be about video editing. It is tips on video editing. What do you use? So this would pertain to the vlogs, I'm assuming, because obviously we do a weekly vlog on All Into the Spectrum already. 57 episodes in counting. 57 episodes and counting. That is amazing. I'm so happy and blessed. I'm definitely creating like just a story for myself to look back on and watch. There's sometimes when I look back and I watch, I start tearing up. It gets real emotional because you can just see like the growth in the strategy of how I started filming just regular stop and motion, putting the camera in a place, walking by it, which that is definitely a great style of filming if you're doing like some acting or you're trying to like do some role play and like really make like a scene. But what I use Final Cut Pro 11.7, the version. It's a great software. It's available on Mac and available on PC, but I have a Mac and I use it off of a Mac. Final Cut Pro has been with me already 3 laptops. So I've went through one laptop, got damaged, got a new laptop, got damaged again. Now this is my 3rd one. Next question. All right, these are a little bit more interesting. I like this one. So, if you could switch places with one person for 1 week, who would it be? I like that. That's a really interesting question. I think if I could switch places with one person for 1 week, I would want to be Donald Trump. I would want to see what his life's like for 1 week, just because he's going through all this stuff, being the president. Highly curious. I would want to be Donald Trump for 1 week. If not him, I would want to be someone involved in some kind of politics because I just want to see like what it's like behind the scenes, like their everyday life. I'm just curious. Next question. Opinion on high school graduates that don't know what to do in their life. That's a very good question. So some advice I would give to some people that are just getting out of high school and want to maybe invest some of the money or the allowance they've been saving over the years, I would say start monetizing things. Like start a little t-shirt brand. It's very easy. I think I told you guys earlier in the episode, we officially are now sponsored by Teesprings, which is a t-shirt company. Go check out their website. Use our promotional code Spectrum Gang and start a website, sell some t-shirts. If you're creative like me and you are not in a rush for any crazy money, start making music. If you do art, which I've done this in the past, I've sold some paintings. I've actually auctioned off a painting on Zetherbys in the past, which was very interesting. First time ever doing that. Did not even know it was so easy. I would just say get with your friends. Also, too, if you have like a nice, solid, small group of friends, like communicate with them and also see what their ideas on business ventures are, and then collaborate with some things because it's better to have more people involved in something versus just one. They can push the process a little bit speedier and it could be a quicker outcome. You can have faster results with more hands involved, from my experience. Okay. Next question. If you were paid to jump off a 5,600 square foot bridge for $50,000 and no bills for 12 months, would you do it? Okay, let me say that again. If you were paid to jump off a bridge that is 5,600 square feet high for $50,000 and no bills for 12 months, would you do it? I personally, I need to know a little bit more about what's happening at the bottom. Number one, which bridge is it? How how far down does it really? I mean, 5,600 feet is pretty far down, but am I gonna be, getting a parachute? Like, am I going straight down into the water? Like, I definitely would not want to impact into water that at that speed. It's pretty fast. No parachute, nothing to like stop my fall. I don't think I would do that because I mean, 12, 50K in like 12 months of no bills. It's like, then that just like promotes the attitude to just like party the fuck out. But like 50K will go very quickly. Like 50K will go fast, especially if you say, for instance, you impact that water, your ankle hurts now. You have to visit a hospital. Now that costs. That's a hospital bill. It's about 1,500 per visit to the hospital, whether you're immediately in the ER or have to be seen by a doctor. If you have insurance, then they cut that in half, bring it down to 600, and insurance can usually cover anything under 1,000. So no, I would not do that. I don't know if there's not like a little bit more info as to what I'm wearing. Am I just in regular like shorts? Hell no. I need to have like a little bit more protective gear to like stop my fall, maybe a helmet to like not make sure my brain doesn't rattle. It's intense. I would not take that money for that and do that crazy stunt. Next question. How did you get into music? Okay, so obviously growing up and watching TV and listening to, soundtracks off of video games, riding in cars and the radio, you naturally take a liking into maybe harmonizing a song you like or, doing the exact same voice you hear a singer do. And I remember when I was in high school and I was living in Boca and my brother was working on like mixtapes in his closet. So I would go in his room and he was working on mixtapes. Like he was just like rapping. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, how you doing that? And at the time I wasn't really into it the way I grew to be into it. He was off of a Mac, an earlier Mac. He was on GarageBand. Figured it out. I don't even remember how he got that Mac. I just know he figured it out, acquired a Mac, and he's in the garage with a mic and the entire setup that I do use to this day. And I would listen to his songs when he wasn't around, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, he was into like remixing like popular because I don't know. YouTube wasn't early. I wasn't on YouTube at that time for sure. There wasn't like a section where you can find instrumentals and get beats and stuff. It probably was a little harder to come across beats. So for sure, he just like got beats off the internet, found like rips of songs that were already out, and he made remixes to a lot of songs. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, he's actually doing this. So definitely, that's how I got into it because I would see it. I was like, yeah, I want to do that one day. But in the beginning, before I figured out how to produce myself and get behind the boards, I was one of those idiots that would go to studios and pay shitty studios for recording. But this was their hidden agenda on how they would upsell you and make more money out of you. They would just charge you an hourly flat rate for your tracking, like just to record you. Like you record, they're just pressing record and stopping. They're not putting any auto tune. They're not EQing your vocals. They're not compressing anything. They're not noise gating nothing. They're not doing any work but pressing one letter on a keyboard or the space bar. And they're charging you, whether it be $30 to $50 an hour, whatever studio you visit. And then there's an extra upcharge for having the engineer do the plugins, which is the mixing. So I was going to locations and Miami, Circle House Studios, like all these places I've visited, and I was more frustrated because I couldn't build a relationship with the engineer the way I wanted to. He wanted money, obviously, and he just wanted to do that job, which was sit there and smoke weed and press the record button. When I would ask questions about extra add-ons like the plugins or, actually producing the song. Like, yo, can you do some things? He's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be extra. And I'm like, damn, how much extra? Oh, that's an extra 100 off rip. So I'm like, yo, whoa. Just because the space is acquiring, like, clients and people are coming in often, how many people are paying for that? Like, I would imagine everybody, but me, I got smart quick. I thought about it. I was like, you know what? After a half a year, 6 months going to the studios, never getting any polished quality work and leaving there and like showing people music on my phone that was never complete, and I was like, yo, this is so lame. I can't stand the fact that people are getting over and taking my money and just giving me nothing in exchange. And I'm in this place, we're getting drinks going around, like, I every time I would go to the studio, it would be a sloppy setup. Like, I mean, sometimes we would have the initiative of like, yo, we're going in, we're working, and I would go with my friends all the time. I was never like a solo studio rap like I am now, but I would go with my friends and we would just party the whole time and never get any work done. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do this anymore because I see that I'm not succeeding. There's no progress. I'm coming to this studio and paying these. I'm coming to different studios, not even one studio. I would shop around, definitely. Oh, that's my dog. He's trying to get inside. All right, hold on. Let me get her in. All right, we're back and continuing the topic on the studio arrangement. I ended up actually taking the smarter path, which was learning how to produce at that point. So I decided to no longer visit any establishment that was going to charge me for their time or their space. And I took it the different route and took my talents to an in-home studio, and I then began to learn the ins and out of the software that I use today, which is Logic Pro X. And that is our question there. We're going to move on to another question. Next question is going to be, what kind of impression do you want to leave? Okay, let me read that again. What kind of impression do you want this podcast to leave with peace? Okay, let me do that again. What kind of impression would you like this podcast to leave with people? LOL, I went deep. This is a very good question, by the way. I would like this podcast to leave many different impressions. It's not only about what's happening in the world. I'm also talking about me, and I want to be able to have this platform to do that. Everyone deserves a platform to talk about themselves, how they want to improve their family. We all should have a platform similar to this, which we do. If you think of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, these are all platforms that leave impressions on people. They're just not a talking show like this podcast. But the impression I want people to take away from my podcast is anyone can do what I'm doing. Anyone can be great. Anyone can succeed. Like, I have started this journey not in search of financial freedom or financial gain. I literally just started it because it was the summer and I wanted to put out a podcast. I just wanted to try it, and I did it. And I'm 12 episodes in. This is our 12th episode, doing a Q&A for you guys and just really exposing myself because I have to do this. I'm a public figure. I have some status. I'm not just anybody anymore. But I constantly want to circle back around and touch all the people that don't believe in themselves or don't understand what it is to believe in themselves. Just building up the confidence to purchase software, purchase things, and believe in yourself that you can get behind the board and figure it out, versus paying someone else to then tell you whether or not you qualify for this skill. So that's the impression I want the podcast to have on people. We're going to move on to the next question. Okay, and the next question is your favorite place to be alone. So I'm going to have to tie this in with some sort of meditation. We're going to put that on that side of lifestyle. The perfect place for me to be alone is usually the bathroom. It's usually in the bathroom, either sitting on the toilet or looking at myself in the mirror. Those are my favorite places, honestly. Like, to really be alone, and whether I'm taking a number 2 and I'm scrolling through my phone, writing down some reminders that I need to remind myself on in the next few hours, or whether I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like doing a motivational tactic, which is talking to myself. A lot of people aren't familiar with that, and it's called self-preservation. You can preserve yourself to do whatever you want, and I do that often. There was an article that I read in the Forbes magazine about a successful trait of a person. I'm just going to use this one, but so this particular person would use a bar of soap and literally carve on their mirror messages that they want to wake up to see in the morning. I thought that was a little extreme, but I used that same strategy elsewhere. I would set a reminder on my phone or on my computer to pop up every 10 minutes. And it's something I constantly want to see and visualize. So I would say this is believing in the law of attraction, and just like believing in things that you want and you deserve and you will achieve and believe in. It's important to do that. So that goes along with somewhere for me to be alone. The bathroom, definitely. Relationship tips. Next question. Some tips on relationship I want to share. Listen to your partner. Listen to your boyfriend. Listen to your girlfriend. Listen to your significant other. Take the time out to listen to them. Like, literally understand them. So obviously you guys know me and Nat have been together now for a year almost. And I think one of the most important parts of our relationship that I take away is really listening to her. You know, like, there has been times where I can catch myself not wanting to be the butt of the joke and like, oh no, don't laugh at me, but like, I think that's awesome. Like, I actually listen to what she says, and when she's too funny, I'm like, hold on. You're too funny right now. But I can never tell her that, so. Another relationship tip I would say is communication. You know, like, really talk to each other in every sense, not just in a relationship, like in family relationship, you know, mother, father, brother, sister, cousin, aunts, like, talk to these people. Communication is a big thing. Like, growing up, seeing like the level of communication that my family had, I really admired that. So when I went outside of my family and I hung out with people that aren't my family, you know, I tried to instill that same habit, like communicating with people. You know, when you're interested in something and someone shares that same interest with you, it's nothing that you can do but talk. So really, talking is important. Communicating with your partner, your family in general. That's another relationship tip. third relationship tip I want to share is just understanding that you can't change everything. Like, literally. Like, you don't want to be perfect. You don't ever want to be perfect. Like, I believe imperfection is the closest thing to being perfect. And waking up every day, walking from your bedroom to the kitchen, walking from your bedroom to the bathroom, like, appreciate those steps, appreciate the space that you're in, and just appreciate life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't worry about things you can't change. Don't stress the past. Like, there's been times in today in like my world, not today, but there's been times in my world in the past where I would stress so much on specific things, knowing that I can't do anything about them. For example, if there's a fish that you want to catch out there. Like, you want to catch something, you have your mind, you're sitting in the lake in your back porch. You've got your rod out. You've got your smallest piece of bait. Think of your bait as anything. Your smallest piece of bait is really small, but you want to catch a big fish. You want to catch a fish. So you throw that rod out there and you just hang tight. And then when 20 minutes later, you get a tug at your rod, that's a reminder that you're on the right path. You don't need to worry about things you can't change. It would fool you and make you think you need like tons of bait to catch a big fish. But that's wrong. You can use the smallest bait and it can still attract a large animal. Sea animal, if you will. But on that note, I'm diving in deep right now. I almost want to close this out. I might just wait for an hour just because I feel really good inside. I'll talk a little bit more about more things. Maybe play another sleeper. But I really am. I'm appreciative of this podcast, man. It's been a really good time so far. All right, so I decided we're gonna do a sleeper to close out the episode. This is a sleeper by one of my pretty underrated artists, but not really on my top 20. Definitely up there, though. I do like a couple of his songs and his style. His name is Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. This song is called Zoom, and it's really a song that I listen to when I'm feeling a little overwhelmed or I have some kind of anxiety. So listen to this song with that in mind. Like, zoom past your problems. Like, don't worry about things that you can't change. Again, with my previous message before. But after this, I'm probably going to wrap it up. Call it an episode 12 solo edition again for you guys. But here is Zoom by Kyle.
And I zoom. Yep. And I zoom right on past my problems. Henny in my hand, I ain't got no time to solve them. Listen, please approach your early 20s with some caution. GPS my way back to myself, I thought I lost it. Got 100 miles before I crack another smile, oh. I ain't in denial, I know this is just a trial, oh. Everything is fine, I know it's gonna take some time, though. Yeah, nigga, I'll be good, like I said I would. I get by, yeah, with my baby by my side, oh, yeah. You and I, bumping cranes in the sky, oh my, Pour up a drink and give me some more. Ain't in a rush, I'm living it slow. One day we all go. One day we all go. Pour up a drink and give me some more. Ain't in a rush, I'm living it slow. One day we all go. One day we all go. They ain't hitting my phone, no bleep bleep. I'm up all night, no sleep. But lose my stride, no way. Hit it behind the back shots like BP. Money shot, I mean money got me a lot of awesome places, but happiness it did not. I don't get fooled by the fakes, I won't get killed by these cops. I know I'm gonna be myself, I know that's something that I've got. I know that I get a lot of hate from niggas, I am not. I am so far from a flop, and yet so close to the top. And I zoom right on past my problems. Henny in my hand, I ain't got no time to solve them. Listen, please approach your early 20s with some caution. GPS my way back to myself, I thought I lost it. And I zoom right on past my problems. Henny in my hand, I ain't got no time to solve them. Listen, please approach your early 20s with some caution. GPS my way back to myself, I thought I lost it. I get by, yeah, with my baby by my side, oh, yeah. You and I, bumping cranes in the sky, oh my, I get by, yeah, with my baby by my side, oh, yeah. You and I, bumping cranes in the sky, oh my.
All right. Thank you again, Kyle. Zoom. This is actually going to be the last few words I say for this episode. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is episode 12 of All Into the Spectrum, the podcast. Your wonderful, gracious, and highly favored host, 3 a.m. Alexander, back to deliver another one. I'll see you guys on 13. We out.
And I zoom right on past my problem.